What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video and to the channel. So the time has come for me to smog my BMW F30, and as you guys know, the car is full bolt-on with a high flow catted downpipe, a tune, and an intake. And if I were to take this to a smog shop to get it smogged, it definitely would not pass, especially with me living in California. So yeah, there is no way I would be able to pass smog with the mods I currently have on the car. So what I'm gonna be doing, and the main way to pass smog, really the only way to pass smog, like legally and, you know, without any worry or anything, and the cheapest way I would say, is just to simply reinstall your stock catalytic converter, remove your catless or high flow catted downpipe, put your stock catalytic converter back in, and then, you know, remove the tune, remove the intake, and drive around for a bit so the car, you know, readjusts to the stock tune and gets, you know, the emissions levels or whatever from the O2 sensors in check, for it to be able to pass smog. So yeah, then I would take it to a smog shop and then see if it passes smog. I'm pretty sure it will, but I mean, honestly, I've never done this before, but I am interested to see, you know, how this will play out and everything, and I just want to take you guys along with me, kind of doing like a little vlog here. I won't be doing, you know, like a DIY of reinstalling the stock catalytic converter, since I already did a DIY installing the high flow catted downpipe. And if you want to see that video where I go in detail and like in heavy detail on how to install a downpipe, I will leave a link in the description of this video. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, you know, I have a high flow catted downpipe, and shouldn't that be able to still pass smog since it has a cat, or, you know, a catalytic system inside the downpipe, just a smaller one than the stock cat? Shouldn't you still be able to pass smog? And no, you won't be able to pass smog because it is not, you know, in the emissions level that it's supposed to be at, the legal emissions level in California. I don't know if it's different between state to state, but I just know California is very strict, and there's no way you're going to be in that range even with a high flow cat, and especially a catless, you know, since you don't have anything, it's just like a straight pipe with no catalyzation there to control the emissions. So yeah, a high flow cat still will not pass smog, it will not work, and you will still get a check engine light too. That is what the tune is for, to get rid of that. But even in California, you are not allowed to have a tune now. It seems they're getting more strict with each year. You're not allowed to have a tune, so I'm going to be going to the stock tune. And then I'm going to be removing my intake, since that's also not legal. Technically, it's not carb approved in California. The intake on my E90 is carb approved, so I've went to smog this car with that intake and it passed, since it has the sticker or whatever. But this CTS turbo intake in the F30 is not carb approved, and it will not pass. So yeah, in this video, I'm going to be reinstalling the stock catalytic converter on the F30, flashing the car back to the stock tune, and then removing the intake and putting the stock intake back in. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a vlog here, you know, just a laid back video, nothing crazy, no DIY, no crazy mod or anything. So yeah, I have my stock catalytic converter here. I kept it, and I'm very glad I kept it, because most people just sell them. But it is definitely a good idea to keep your stock parts, especially your stock catalytic converter, for when you need to do a smog check. You can just simply put this back in, have a shop install it, or install it yourself, and then, like I said, return the car back to the stock tune and everything. So yeah, go ahead and put that back in the F30, and it should be fairly easy. Like I said, I've already done this once before, so I have an idea of what it's like. So yeah, let's get started on reinstalling this catalytic converter. Alrighty, so I have finished putting in the stock catalytic converter. As you guys can kind of see down there, I got the O2 sensors connected and everything is put together. And honestly, it was very easy reinstalling the stock catalytic converter. I know I said like I was expecting it to be easier anyway, since I had already done this swap before when I installed the high flow cat. But honestly, it was even easier than I expected. So yeah, this is definitely doable at home if you have like a jack and a couple of sockets and socket wrenches and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely consider trying to do this yourself if you need a SMOG check and you have a catless downpipe or high flow downpipe. You could definitely easily switch back to your stock catalytic converter just to do the SMOG check. So yeah, definitely not much of a hassle so far for me. But yeah, now I'm gonna go ahead and take off the CTS turbo intake. As you guys can see, it's pretty faded from the vent opening up there, unfortunately. Honestly, I don't know, maybe I'll get a different intake, swap out this one because I kind of don't like how this looks. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take this one out and put the stock intake back in real quick. So I officially do not have 400 wheel horsepower on the car anymore. We are back to probably around 290 wheel, 300 horsepower to the crank, which is about the stock power output from factory. So yeah, no more fast pulls and all that exciting stuff for a little while until I finish the SMOG. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the car real quick, and I'm kind of interested to see how it'll sound now that it doesn't have the high flow catted downpipe. It just literally has a resonator delete. Now I have no idea how it's gonna sound since I got the downpipe first and then the resonator delete. So I've never heard it with just a resonator delete with the stock catalytic converter and the muffler. As you guys know, I still have my stock muffler. So yeah, let's go ahead and start it here. Oh my gosh. Honestly, it is actually still pretty loud. Obviously, it's a little quieter. It's not as loud, but it's still louder than what it was when it was just completely stock with everything on, like the muffler, resonator, and catalytic converter. So yeah, it's still louder than completely stock, but it's not as loud, obviously, with the high flow downpipe and all the adjustments I made on boot mode to the exhaust sounds. But yeah, as I was saying, the car is now back to 300 or around 300 horsepower, which is the stock power output from factory. I do not have 400 wheel horsepower anymore. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how this car will feel now, driving it with the stock power output, since I got so used to the 400 wheel horsepower, obviously. But before I had the 400 wheel horsepower, I mean, 300 horsepower felt really fast for me. But that was my first time driving with that much power, and now I got used to the 400, so I feel like the 300 is gonna feel super slow whenever I do a pull or whatever and accelerate fast. But yeah, I'm honestly pretty excited to see, I'm really interested to see how the car will feel with now the stock power output. So like I said, you guys, now that the car is back with the stock tune, stock catalytic converter, stock intake, I'm gonna need to drive around for a bit. So I will take you guys with me on the first drive because I want to kind of describe to you guys or show you guys my reaction to the stock power output with this car. Because like I said, I'm very interested to see how the car will feel and all that. So yeah, I'll get back with you guys when I'm going to be going on my first drive with the F30 on the stock tune. Gosh, it's so quiet when it starts up now. I was so used to the loud startup with the GTS startup roar that I coded in. Let the car warm up here for a few seconds. All right, I think we're ready to get going here. Without the intake, there are no intake noises whatsoever. Usually when I step on it, I can hear, you know, like the engine sucking in like air and just like loud swooshes and air noises and all that stuff. But now there's nothing. It's just kind of boring, but whatever. And also the exhaust is obviously quieter. All right, you guys, I think we can do a bit of a harder acceleration here to see. Yeah guys, I just did kind of another little acceleration there into the off the turn, and I'm used to it like just taking off, like barely having to step on the pedal, but it's not going anywhere like it used to. It's kind of disappointing. Still got, you know, a good amount of power for the average driver. Alright, so now that I know how the car feels and I kind of described it to you guys and showed you guys my reaction to it, I'm going to continue driving around for a bit, for a few days before I take it to the SMOG shop. So yeah, I guess I will just get back with you guys in a few days, maybe next week, and show you guys the whole process of the car getting smogged and show you guys if it passes or not. So I will see you guys then. So it has been exactly 1 week since I reinstalled the stock catalytic converter. So I've driven about 100 miles, so I'm pretty sure everything should be good to go and ready for the SMOG check. So today I'm going to be taking it to the SMOG station. It's actually a SMOG check that is owned by a buddy of mine that I knew in high school. So he's going to run the SMOG check for me and hopefully it goes well. So let's do this. Alright, so as you guys saw, the F30 ended up passing the smog check, so that is awesome. As you guys can see, everything passed. There were no issues or complications or anything, so that is awesome. I was a tiny bit worried that there may be some complication with the catalytic converter or anything with the ECU, you know. I don't know, I just honestly wasn't sure since this is my first time doing this, you know, returning the car back to stock with the stock catalytic converter and taking the tune off and everything. I just was not, you know, 100% sure that it would pass. But I mean, thinking about it, it's kind of, you know, expected, like why wouldn't it pass since, you know, the stock catalytic converter is back on and there's no tune, you know, changing anything. So I mean, you could really expect to pass, and honestly, like, it really isn't that surprising that it passed. But I did just want to take you guys along with me so I can show you guys the whole process of what I did for, you know, the car to pass. You know, other people who live in California or other states with, you know, strict emissions laws and smog checks and all that stuff. It is possible to pass smog, but the only way to do it legally and I think practically is just putting the stock catalytic converter back on the car and then taking off any tune you have and returning to the stock tune. Hopefully whatever tuning program you have allows you to save the stock tune so that if you want to go back, you can just simply flash it back to the original tune. So yeah guys, that is awesome news. I am good for another 2 years, but honestly, not too sure I'm gonna have the car in 2 years, but we'll see. So now I wanted to talk to you guys about some things about the car, so let me get out of the car here. Alright, so yeah, I wanted to bring up a couple things about the F30. I'm pretty sure some of you are wondering, am I going to put the downpipe back on? And I think I am, but I am going to make a slight change. I think I'm going to go catless this time. I initially did not do catless and I went with the high flow downpipe because I didn't think it sounded as good as the high flow downpipe. And on top of that, I did not want to deal with the smell of it being, you know, catless and, you know, having strong exhaust smells. But I think I want to go catless because I simply just want to experience it. I know the smell is going to be really bad and I know it's not going to sound as good. I mean, it may sound better to some of you, but for my personal preferences on sound, I don't think it's going to sound as good. It'll definitely be louder, I think, since there's no cat at all. It's just like, you know, a straight pipe except for the muffler. On top of that, going catless I think should yield a bit more horsepower since, you know, there's zero catalyzation there happening in the downpipe. With the high flow downpipe, there's obviously still some going on, but with the catless, there's nothing in there. The exhaust is just flowing freely through it out the muffler. So yeah, I think there would be, you know, not anything significant, but, you know, a bit more horsepower gain by going catless. Honestly, since I've been driving the car with the stock tune and everything, the car just does not feel as fun to drive anymore with, you know, the intake and the loud exhausts and, you know, burbles and all that. It's kind of been boring to drive. So yeah, I can't wait to go back to having the tune on and the downpipe and, you know, an intake. I think I may get a different intake, as I mentioned, because my CTS turbo intake is just faded and doesn't really look that good. And now you guys can see I actually have the hood vent on since I have the stock intake and there's room. So yeah, there are going to be a few changes to the car I'm planning to make, you know, because honestly I kind of want a different look of the F30. I may paint the hood, as a lot of you guys would like me to do, since I know it doesn't look as clean, but I do think it looks, you know, more unique and cooler and stands out, you know, driving around on the streets. I think I may change the front lip since I'm kind of getting over this style front lip. I want to try a different style that is not as common and is more unique, and I think just looks a little bit better maybe, but I'm not going to reveal obviously which one it is yet. But I think I am going to do that. In addition, I may try out some front fangs. The fangs are the pieces, the carbon pieces that go right here. I tried them out since I do offer them on my store, but I honestly didn't like how they look. I think they just don't really look that good on white cars, but I think they look okay, so I think I am going to just try them, but obviously in forged carbon since I want everything in forged carbon. In addition, I may get some new wheels. I am getting tired of these OEM 437M wheels, so I may get some aftermarket wheels. So yeah, those are some of the things I might be changing here. So I got some content coming for this car. I know I've been kind of slow on content since I haven't really been doing many mods. I've been really busy with the my store, Inline 6 Auto. I am going to get back into it here, and the car is going to look a bit different in the coming months and maybe the beginning of next year. So yeah, I do have some changes coming, and I am really excited to share them with you guys. I feel like I have not been doing, you know, videos about new modifications. I've just been doing, you know, videos of me just talking about stuff, which isn't the best. I don't really enjoy doing those. I would rather, you know, install something or do a maintenance part. I prefer those videos more. So yeah, I got those coming, and I can't wait to show them to you guys. So yeah, guys, I think that is going to wrap up this video. So yeah, hopefully I gave you guys an idea of what to do. I mean, really the only thing you can do to pass smog when you have a downpipe and a tune and your car's modded. This is really the only way to go. Just put the stock cap back on, return to the stock tune, and then, you know, take off the intake if you don't have a carb approved intake, which I didn't. So yeah, guys, hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions or anything, as usual, feel free to comment them down below. Also, feel free to check out my website at inline6auto.com for any aftermarket modifications, like I've been saying, for your F30 or E90. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more content like this if you liked what you saw. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.